Welcome to the Damn Good Dogcast. This is your host, Robert Reynolds. On today's show, we have someone special, Allan George, the starting cornerback at Vanderbilt University. Welcome to the show, sir. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on here.
Hey, man, my pleasure. All right, for anybody listening, we are going to be talking about a couple hot topics around the NCAA. Obviously, we'll talk about the national or name, image, likeness, and we'll talk about the transfer portal. So what better way to bring on a college athlete to sit here and get their firsthand experiences about these issues? So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Obviously, coming from Vanderbilt, you're in the state of Tennessee. Yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, Tennessee passed their bill for the name, image, likeness, which I think would start in January 2022, I believe. Obviously, being in Georgia, North Carolina, things like that. I'm from North Carolina, but Georgia, they passed theirs and it would start July 1st of this year. So from that standpoint, what does name, image, likeness mean to you from, being an athlete?
I think overall, I'm just happy that we're kind of getting a voice out there, or like a foot in the door. I don't really know how far it's gonna go, or if it's gonna do anything really, if it's gonna change anything. I just because I don't know how many people are gonna take advantage of it, but I feel like it's trending in the right direction for the most part, with just us even having that opportunity, because a lot of people have not had that opportunity in the past, with the myriad of athletes that came through with any conference or any sport. So I'm just happy to kind of be, the trailblazing class of like initiates.
I mean, looking at that standpoint right there, obviously it's been an issue for what's going on years now, right? The main thing is you've always got this heated debate when it comes to college athletes. Obviously, been on full scholarship, room, board, tuition, things like that. Those are paid for by the scholarship. And then, obviously I've never was a college athlete, but I'm assuming, now correct me if I'm wrong, there is like a stipend or whatever that a student athlete would get. I may be wrong, but obviously the main expenses are paid for. And looking at this name, image, likeness bill and everything in this action, a lot of people are, I've seen both sides of this. You see people that are for it. I mean, I'm for it, right? But and then you also see people that are against it. And I think that's with anything you're going to see. But, one of the things that, I look at, I think you were a 3-star coming out of high school. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, as a 3-star, I was looking into some, resources and some data. And, the amount that, I guess you could say the amount that a college athlete, specifically football for this matter, would bring to the program that they're at, in my opinion, in a short thing, it's really amplified. Like, it's really multiplied, in just a year. I think it was, I want to say like a 5-star athlete brought like $700,000 or $600,000 a year to a program, and that's just one 5-star. Then it kind of goes down to, I think a 3-star maybe like $250,000, I think maybe. But still, nonetheless, though, I see the point of college athlete. You're getting paid a tuition and everything, all those expenses, but if the school is basically raking in revenue off of your back, maybe it's time for me to get a cut. You know what I mean? I think that's the outside logic of people that are for it, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I would. I also agree. I don't, like I said, I don't know too many people. I don't know personally. I just don't know a lot of people because I haven't talked to a lot of people about it. But I don't know the extent of who is gonna take advantage of us having this opportunity right now. But if I were to try to combat to the those that are against it, I would just say that I just think like the argument that comes up a lot is that we shouldn't have it. We, like you said, like we should not be able to prosper off of our name, image, and likeness because of our full tuition or our full scholarships that have been paid. But
Mm-hmm.
there are also academic full scholarships that go out to normal students who just come to school for a good time and to get education. And if they can get into the same school that I can for free through academics, and I can get in through athletics, there shouldn't be a reason why they should be able to get their whole entire tuition paid for just as I do, but they get to make money off of having a job or having an image or likeness that they can kind of market. So I just feel like to people who don't agree with it, and that be their reasoning why they don't agree with it, then they should probably they should be mad about academic students getting full academic scholarships.
I mean, I hear that. I hear that loud and clear. And just think about it. When I was in college, I did. I worked as well. And that's the thing. If an average, and I don't want to sound bad, but if just a regular athletic or academic scholarship, they can go out there, they can still work, and do these things. That's nothing looks basically, and I is not, nothing's wrong. But when an athlete tries to go do something and then it breaks loose. So, looking at that perspective, I think it definitely kind of strengthens my feelings towards, paying athletes. Now, I know you had mentioned you don't know how, who would take advantage of it. And I think, this is where the NCAA has a lot to come up with, right there. The states are passing these bills and putting these into place. And, President Emmerich had mentioned having something, before or as close to July 1st. So it's going to be interesting to see how the NCAA makes this play, I hope they do it right. I really do, because, if I was a college athlete, I understand, that I have basically a sacrifice to make, for your situation, the football program. However, I look at a situation where basically, like if you're the starting cornerback at Vanderbilt, right? Nashville's a pretty big town in regards to, Vanderbilt is, I would assume, very academic school. But there's no reason why you couldn't go and say, set up a camp, right? Set up a camp for kids and hosted by yourself, and maybe charge, I don't know, just hypothetically $20, right? And if kids want to come, then they want to come, So it's definitely interesting. But I don't know Tennessee's version of the bill. But I know, obviously, in Georgia, the bill basically stated up to 75%. UGA could take from the player, but UGA pretty much just cut that down, basically saying we're not going to take anything from you. That they had that authority to do so, so they pretty much did that relatively fast. And obviously, I think it impacts recruiting. These states, the name, image, likeness. Who's to say, with you, I know you actually stream video games a lot, right?
Yeah.
So, for instance, like if you, because I think you do it on Twitch.
Yeah, I stream a lot of Call of Duty on Twitch.
Yeah. See, I'm not a good Call of Duty guy. I try to play a little bit, but for instance, I do watch people play. And, a lot of these guys on there, just, professional gamers or, content creators, they have subscribers, and, you pay a small amount per month to basically, be a supporter for them. And they get basically compensated that way. With the name, image, likeness bill, I think that, if you're putting out content for this, even outside of football or athletics, if you have content and people want to support you that way, I don't think it should be, against you. It should be held against you. You know what I mean? To use that platform, use your name, and everything like that to benefit. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what the NCAA does, but I just think that they need to make it fair, and apply it to everybody. Obviously you can try to be as fair as possible, but, for instance, a quarterback at USC could make more than an offensive lineman at Tulane or something like that. You know what I mean? I think the realistic expectations need to be set in stone for, everybody involved, but still have the opportunity, I think, to go out and, use your name and, like I said, host a camp or, support your Twitch stream and everything like that. That's just
Mhm.
my take on it.
Yeah, I feel like the only idea that I might have towards like fairness maybe would just be like placing a kind of like a buffer as to say like as to how far we can go or like how much money could be made because for like take for instance like there could be a kid at like Akron or something like that
Okay.
versus someone at UT at Texas and the starting quarterback at Akron would the starting quarterback at Akron would probably make less than the guy at UT.
Yeah.
So you could probably just put a buffer maybe I would say as to how much they could make so that way the UT guy doesn't go out of bounds and just blow it out of water, but the Akron guy still has like room to where he can still move. So like maybe like if it was like maybe like 8,000 or 10,000 or something like that
Hmm.
that you have up to make, and then if the UT person reaches 10,000, then they just have to stop right there. Like they can no longer market themselves that year or for their career or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
But then the Akron guy can still continue to try to build it up, and maybe he only reaches like 3,000 or 4,000 over his time, but at least he had the opportunity to get that far.
Yeah.
I guess that was kind of see how I would balance it out. But I also just feel like how you were saying, just like with streaming things and how we should be able to represent ourselves that way. I would say that yeah, I agree with that too because I don't feel like we should be penalized at all for expressing a talent that has nothing to do with playing our sport,
Hmm.
especially because like I guess it'd be different. Like maybe they could say like we can't host camps or something like that, or like we can't do anything surrounding the sport that we play to try to draw in and kind of hype it up around that sport
Hmm.
maybe. But like an outside talent for sure, I definitely think that should be something that's looked into to where we could market ourselves because like if you're a good singer, if you're the best singer in the world and you play a college sport, you shouldn't be penalized to not be able to sing and get revenue off of that. Or like if you're a great gamer, you shouldn't be able to, or you shouldn't have to sit down on the bench when it comes to gaming and not be able to kind of play with the top of the top and rank up with all of them and stuff like that. So I feel like you shouldn't be penalized for an outside talent at all when it comes to this whole name, image, likeness.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously it's going to be difficult, right? Because you want to try to make sure that not just football, but, baseball, basketball, all of these programs are accounted for in an equal manner. So,
Hmm.
NCAA has their hands full. And I'm hoping that they keep it. They've had time to prepare for this, I think, but we're about to find out.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do something I don't really do here. Obviously, we're here to talk about football and things like that, but you being a college athlete, I want, you live, breathe, eat it, right? I want to talk about streaming, right? I mean, obviously, the podcast is kind of a stream situation too, but when it comes to streaming, right? I know you play a lot of COD.
Hmm.
Tell me some stuff about it, man. I keep up with the game, but I felt like maybe it's just maybe it could have been a better spot. But I know they did recent updates. What are your takes on the updates, man? You feel like it's better or what?
I actually think that it's better. I think that the game because the game that I'm playing right now for anybody who's watching is it's Warzone. Call of Duty Warzone is what I play a lot. I play a ton of. I probably play too much, more than I should. But I think that the updates are very good. Raven Software is they're doing a terrific job with whoever is over the lead of uh, of managing community outreach and just kind of having a voice for the community of COD. I feel like they're doing a great job of reaching out to us and hearing our wants and needs. But um, yeah, I do stream on Twitch a lot, and I need to, I need to kind of reel in what I'm doing there.
I mean, I like playing games when I can, but it's kind of one of those things where if you're good at it, right, keep doing it, and you never know, right? Somebody
Yeah.
can pay attention to it, right? So obviously, talking about that right there, also if you kind of want to tie it back to name, image, likeness, right? Everybody knows if you're a gamer, the NCAA, football series is coming back.
Hmm.
Obviously, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but 2014 was the last year that they made the series before they
Yeah.
shut it down. What are your thoughts on the game coming back? And I'm hoping. Now I don't know for sure, but I'm hoping that with these bills coming into place, they can use your name on the back of a jersey. You know what I mean? I would love
Hmm.
to see that happen. I really would. What are your thoughts on that upcoming game coming out? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really happy. I haven't had any communication with anyone on that side because that's the full on business side of the NCAA.
Yep.
But I'm really excited for them to bring that back because that was an essential part of just my childhood growing up. Was like a dream of being inside. Like even today, like with what I'm saying, like with playing Call of Duty, I play video games so much, and like I've grown up in a video game realm per se. So when I'm not playing sports, like my most comfortable place to be is on a video game. So just to be immersed in one and to be inside of one would be that would do astronomical things to me. I would just I don't even know if I could put into words how happy I would be. I think the only thing that would make me happier than that would be getting into like an NFL game or a Madden game. So I'm excited for it to come back. I don't know the exact year. I can't remember what it said when it
I
would
think it's
be back.
2022 or 2023, maybe.
So yeah, I'm hoping that they could use because this will be my last year. So I'm hoping they'll input that former roster or last roster or somebody out there will create some rosters and put the names on there. I just want to get the opportunity to see it.
Yeah, I know. Looking at so if you're into gaming, if you are you PlayStation or Xbox?
I've had both of them in my life, but I've been Team Xbox for the
Okay,
last 6 years, 6 7 years of my life, I think.
gotcha. Now I don't know if you're aware of this. There is a what's called college football revamped, right?
Hmm.
And basically, what they do is they took NCAA 14 and they're modernizing it, where you have to do some things to I think it's to your console or whatever. But once you get it, you can basically play updated rosters and things like that,
Oh,
updated uniforms and all of it. So, I know you said you have an Xbox, but that's one of the things that I experienced, and basically to see, this past year's, Georgia Bulldogs on a video game back in 2014 was insane. So
mm.
that maybe that's something you would, if you needed to, and if you do play a lot of, I don't know if I know you sound like you play a lot of COD. I don't know if you play, those games, but if you ever do,
Just a
that's
little bit.
something, that's an outlet. I could even check to see if your name's on there. Honestly, it probably is.
I hope so. It could be. I have no clue. I have no clue.
I have to do some digging, man. I have to do some digging and let you know.
That'll
But
be good.
yeah. So obviously we're talking about name, image, likeness, but I also want to talk about the transfer portal. And you know, obviously there's a heated debate here as well. You know, you hear both sides of the argument, right? Kid, whatever happens to them, they want to get a fresh start. You can transfer one time, no penalty. And you hear the other side where commitments and things like that, right? Or it's creating a free agency per se. What are your thoughts, being that you're like obviously the athlete here? What are your thoughts on the rule allowing that one time transfer?
I'm completely fine with it. I just yeah, I'm completely fine with it. I don't think there's any penalties or there should be any penalties enforced as long as there's a right reason for the transfer.
Mm-hmm.
But if it can be explained properly and it's not just the same cookie cutter response of why you transferred every single time, then I feel like it should be fine.
Yeah, looking into it though, right? Like, there's certain situations, that everybody was used to, even before this thing became real big, right? Where, for instance, I'm gonna use Georgia as an example here. One of our tight ends, Luke Ford, back in the day, a couple years back, he went to Illinois because his family member was passing away. To me, that's a logical reason, but the immediate eligibility, cost him, he had to sit out a year, and then, his loved one passed away during that time. So you have the bad side of that, but then you also see, and I think the immediate eligibility is a good thing. You saw before that, rule was established where kids would, it seemed to be quarterbacks, right? Quarterbacks would transfer from one program to another and then get immediate eligibility. But like I said, Luke Ford's case, he didn't get immediate eligibility. And the logic behind the move, the transfer, was very sentimental and deep, but he couldn't play him eligible, immediately. So a lot of questions and a lot of hatred came towards that, it's selected and things like that or whatever. But looking at the immediate eligibility now, I think even the platform for really, if someone wants to go closer to home, there you go. You get one shot, do it again. If you want to sit there, if you want better playing time or whatever, push your luck. Go somewhere where you can either win it or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I think it's a good thing, that they did that. And obviously you're seeing a lot more guys in the portal.
Yeah, a ton of them.
A ton of them. You're seeing a lot like you look at Tennessee, for example. Tennessee, tons of kids leaving that program. Now, to their to those kids' defense, they were under a situation where the leadership there, kind of, in my opinion, did them dirty. Did the all the recruiting and got the sanctions or possibly coming. So you put them in a situation that I feel bad for the kids in that case. So in my opinion, I feel like if that's the case, let them transfer out. There's, but I feel like the NCAA, if you're not careful, you're going to get this thing carried away, and it's going to be too far gone, and it's going to become something that you can't control. And honestly, I want to see a kid get a fresh start, but it's scary to see the numbers. You're right, because once you enter the portal, the school doesn't have to accept your scholarship anymore. So, a lot of kids, I hope that they understand that. I think they do. I'm sure the school would let them know, I would think. But if they don't, as a fan or anybody that's outside the realm of the actual, program, like, without, out of the confines, that's something that kids have to understand is, those scholarships can be, they don't have to offer it once you're into the portal. So you're basically banking on yourself in theory.
Yeah, I worried about the same thing with if people know about the rules of getting in the transfer portal, because it's a different beast. Like, a lot of people think that it's the same as kind of high school recruiting, but it's kind of playing with you're like dancing with the devil whenever you jump in there. So a lot of people also doubt how many people are actually in the portal. So they'll kind of just say, all right, I'll transfer and I'll just jump in the portal. But they'll get in there, and then there's like 200 different corners in there trying to get the same scholarship that they are. And that person, the other 220 might have more film than the one person that's trying to get in there and take that spot. So when you jump into the portal, I just if I were talking to someone, I would just let them know that they're definitely risking a lot whenever you get in there. If you already don't have a lot of film, or you don't have kind of I guess aura around your name with being a 4 or 5 star or high 3 star or something like that. So I just I hope a lot of people are educated about getting into the portal, because it's never been an interest, in my opinion, of ever jumping into the portal. So I don't know the mindset that they might have whenever they get into there. But if I could educate someone, that's definitely what I would say to them about it.
Yeah, I think, obviously I wasn't an athlete, so, obviously I'm not going to say anything more about it. I'm not going to understand what it's like, the mentality of why you want to go somewhere else, or, whether you want to stay or go. As a fan, though, I love seeing the team, and I want to see these guys come in and play 3-4 years, whatever the case. If I had it my way and I was, being stingy, 4 years. But you look at certain schools like at Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, and not to discredit anything, but You see these guys that, get the depth on these programs are elite all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
So you see these guys coming out, and just based off of the school, almost you see these guys getting picked up.
Yeah.
And I think to your point, you look as it goes down the talent levels, if you want to say, you're starting to get really more in risk there. You're putting more risk out there. Like you said, you maybe not have it, or maybe you got a lot of film, but what happens, right? Maybe the bigger schools don't have the spots or whatever the case, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you brought that up because we can sit here as fans and talk about it all day. We can talk about it till the cows come home and just know what we know. But
Mm-hmm.
until you hear it from an athlete firsthand, you start to kind of open your eyes up and really take into perspective what all goes into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So obviously, I want to thank you for your insight on that because there's certain things that I didn't even know.
Yeah, that's the portal's it's a scary thing. I have a lot of people, or I know a lot of people who have jumped in there, but they haven't expressed to me as to really why they jumped in there. They kind of just did it. But
Mm-hmm.
I, if I'm being honest, a lot of them haven't found many places. I think only three out of maybe like 20 have found places. So it's just it's not I don't, I'm not turning people away from it, but I don't condone for myself. I wouldn't myself jump in there.
Yeah, it sounds. I mean, look, from a statistics standpoint, the numbers are against you.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if any college athletes are listening or high school prospects or anything like that. But keep this in mind if you do listen to it. You're hearing it from a college athlete himself. He's about to graduate this coming up year too. So he's been in the game right for several years now. He's went through the recruiting process. He's went through all the 10 years Vanderbilt. So he sees it firsthand. So if anyone's listening to this or has children going through the recruiting process or possibly going to play athletics at a college level, please take what he's saying into mind. So obviously the portal right here, continuing on, it's really become a craze where people will obsess over the portal, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's good and there's bad, and I think you've seen that as well. Your team, from a team standpoint, you can get better through the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Um, you situations where you lose guys to graduation, whatever the case may be. You get these guys from the portal, they come in and they make your team better, more competitive, things like that. But a lot of people don't really pay attention to, and I don't know if the NCAA paid attention to this either. How is it going to impact these high school recruits coming in? As you think about it, these guys taking up scholarship spots coming through the portal that,
Mm-hmm.
You don't see it in places like Georgia. You don't see it like Florida, Alabama. No, the super big schools not really impacted. But you
Mm-hmm.
get to the mid majors, things like that, maybe even D2, you're going to see these kids not have a shot. And for the future of the game, that's a problem if it's not addressed in the right way. Obviously your situation, you were fortunate enough to get your scholarship and things like that, but out there's so many kids out there that have this dream of making it to the NFL, but you obviously go through college. And with the transfer portal, this is where I kind of see the negative side of it. You're taking away from a high school kid that could very well make a career out of this, but they don't get the shot. So I think my opinion is, the NCAA's got to do something about it, right? Because the amount of kids going in there is getting ridiculous, and that's not just football. You're looking at basketball as well. Georgia's had our basketball programs had 9 guys hit the portal, and that's just a ton. But nonetheless, whether it's coaching or whatever, I'm not going to dig into that. The problem is the numbers, right? And these guys are, for the most part, like you said, are going to try to go somewhere else and get a spot. And if they do, ultimately that's taken away from a high school kid. So, I think the NCAA's got to do something, to keep the high school system going, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, your 5 and 4 stars are going to be fine. Most of your 3 stars can be fine. But you really start to look down below that, and then you got to be careful.
Yeah, because I've also seen a lot about with basketball, with the process that they're going through. They just it seems like every single day there's like 15 more people into the portal with basketball. I hear about a transfer going here or somebody just committed from another school all the time. So I definitely see what you're saying there about what you guys are experiencing. But also, I just think that the way that they're gonna address it with high schoolers, they do need to be very precarious with how they handle that, and just kind of make sure that they're not disrespecting the game at all with allowing 2 stars or there would be no stories of underrated walk-ons or anything. Like Baker Mayfield would not have been anywhere if the transfer portal existed whenever he was coming out. So there's just a lot of things that kind of need to go into consideration for the high schoolers, who colleges are probably more excited to get instead of somebody who's going to be there for 1 year and then just leave. So I would think that the NCAA needs to worry about the high schoolers a little bit more than they do the college athletes.
I would like to think so. I agree with you on that one. Not to sound bad, but the college kid kind of had their choice with going through the recruitment process.
Yeah.
And you give the benefit. I think you have to give the upper hand to the high school kid. I think you give them priority because they haven't went through the process. They're going through this process.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to keep the game going, that's what you do. I think you have to start lower levels. Work from the high school, right? Make sure these kids have accessibility, opportunity. And I think those two right there, if you give them the opportunity, that's where you see these lower ranked kids, the 3 stars, the 2 stars, and sometimes not even ranked, right? A lot of people get so caught up with rankings that, some of your best players were 3 stars, 2 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson wasn't the highest rated recruit, and he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So, the star system is nice, and it only matters so much. But,
yeah.
If you have these kids, right, like these 3 stars, 2 stars, if we put yourself in your shoes 5 years from now, who's to say you would even have a shot depending on how the trajectory of this went? So we have to, as fans, we need to, and honestly, the NCAA needs to take a look at this and maybe, and kind of find a way to kind of find an even balance, right? Because if you're not careful, the number that we're seeing right now is actually going to be minute compared to what you could see.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about is the big number that could come in the future.
Because you think about it. I want to say close to 2,000 kids, perhaps, maybe I may be wrong, but close to 2,000 kids are in the portal, and not everybody's got a spot. There might not be 2,000 spots left.
Yeah,
and then you got to look at the recruiting class, right? The recruiting classes these colleges are signing. Typically, you're going to see 25. That's the typical number, But if you look at kids or look at programs, I should say, that rely solely on the portal, right, to fill these spots, mm-hmm. that spot's going to take away a recruiting spot from a high school kid. So the number 25, if the portal's not, if you're not careful, that number's going to change. It's really going to change. That might be, it might go down to 22 or 23. It might be a normal class. Depending on how the portal really goes. So, that's just something for anybody listening. Like, we just have to kind of keep an eye out for it. I hope the NCAA does something to kind of like slow the numbers down because supply and demand tells you that, you're going to have a problem soon with the exponential rate that it happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to add with that, if you couple that with what just happened this past year, which is one reason why I'm very behind high schoolers right now, and trying to help them out as much, and just trying to link them with coaches anywhere that I can, because what happened with them getting their, like in the spring season with their sports getting cut with COVID, mm-hmm. Just a lot of like baseball players or track athletes or soccer players or anything like that. And then with a bunch of football players who couldn't take official visits, anything like that, they just they kind of got screwed in the process. So if you couple that with the transfer portal and people taking their COVID years and coming back for free, basically, and kind of just expunging this past year, and it's not happening. So that kind of just, I really felt for a lot of baseball athletes in high school, because if a lot of if 90% of the U.S.'s baseball rosters came back, then that means 90% of the high schoolers are probably not going to get signed to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So
it's more
really
impacted on the lower scholarships sports.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just really worried about high schoolers right now, because it could get out of hand as the classes keep going because of what happened with this COVID stuff, and then on top of the transfer portal.
Yeah, and I can completely agree with what you're saying, man. I think we're on the same page when it comes to the portal and really name, image, likeness. They're both opportunities, right, for college athletes. But at the end of the day, you have to look. You see the small scope, but you have to look at the big scope. The bigger picture here, and that's the sport of college football. And obviously, you filter down through high school, through middle school, whatever. Pee wee football, all the way down there. What if you're not careful? The NCAA has, like I said, it has a real big problem, and it's a lot to manage. Because if you're not careful, you could kill football from the bottom up. So, just looking at that, I think, I'm glad that you yourself and everybody, all athletes are getting this opportunity. I really look forward to seeing what the NCAA does with the name, image, likeness to kind of tie back to that, because I know people that collect memorabilia. I know people that anything, right? Todd Gurley back in 2014 had to sit out 4 games because he signed a jersey, right? So you look at that right there. Obviously, we were pissed off about it. I doubt you kept up with it, perhaps, but trust me, we were pissed off about it. But I think it'd be nice to see an environment of college football where kids can, for instance, you want to sign an autograph, right? Do it. Pay $5, something like that, right? Something like that where you can sign autographs, or stream, right? Stream and have supporters. Think anything like that, really, because you're using whether it's be your services or your talents, you have that right there. So why should you be limited? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we, for Vanderbilt football, at least with what we do in the summer, we offer our fan base an opportunity to come through for literally as long as they want to, and spend the day with us, signing autographs. So we could just chill or sign autographs or take pictures or hang out with your kids or anything, or hang out with you, or just anything up at our indoor facility at one day throughout the summer. So we offer that to people on behalf of our own time, and we sanction that event. So it's something that we do offer for free at one point. So I feel like if we were to take time out and do it and on our own time in the future, then it should be something that we should be able to profit off of, I feel like.
No, I agree with you. Just reading a comment here. Intra-conferences or intra-conference transfers should not get automatic eligibility. Don't even like the one-time transfer either. This is going to make a dirty business even dirtier. And I think recruiting, and I may be wrong here, but the way I'm interpreting that comment, you look at recruiting, right? In recruiting, you're going to see these kind of things. But if you get the name, image, likeness, you could add another dimension to the recruiting process that could make it unfair, per se. If you look at it, and I'm not to say that teams are going to pull illegal stuff, but you take a Georgia and say you have a kid trying to go between Georgia and Georgia Tech, right? You can make more money if you're attached to the Georgia Bulldogs brand more so than perhaps a Georgia Tech brand. So, I think that I may be wrong or misinterpreting it slightly, but I'm thinking that's, may be the case. But to the intra-conference transfers, I think you could, what I'm interpreting in this way, sounds like you could possibly, if you're not careful, create a super team. If you get what I'm going with that. Now, ultimately, I think you have to look at situations where the kids want to go to these schools to get to the NFL, right? just because you go to Georgia doesn't mean you're going to make it to the NFL. You see kids from Vanderbilt, Kentucky, just going to SEC. You see a lot of kids from all these schools going, but you see more from Alabama, your Georgias, your Floridas. So I think you have to be careful with the interconference transfers. Maybe the way I interpret that is a power gap, maybe increasing the power gap depending on it. I may be wrong. So Chad, if I'm wrong, I apologize. What would you think? What would you have to say about the interconference transfers not getting the eligibility?
I mean, I could see both sides of it at this point in my career, and also just because only 11 people can be on the field at once. I'm not really too worried about my capabilities or my team's capabilities at all. I just speaking from a football standpoint, I feel like I just kind of play my game and I do what I can to help my team. So if they have a transfer deal going on at the other schools that we're playing, then it is what it is. But I can't control that, so I'm just gonna do what I can.
Yep. So I think Chad also commented here. He said, "Look at the LSU basketball program. I'm sure they're not the only one." And I think what that's tied into is the pay to play type thing, where the kids actually got there's hard evidence there. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but there's hard evidence basically saying that paying the kids to come here, whatever the case may be. So I think to tie that right there, I don't know if the name, image, likeness is going to be that way. I think the NCAA would cut that out, try to avoid that.
Mm-hmm.
I think programs are going to do that regardless, right? You have some programs, whatever the case may be, they're going to try to do that, right? For the most part, most colleges, I would like to say, don't really do that. I think, the program branding, things like that is going to help there. So we'll do that right there. Before you go, I want to ask you a couple questions about how your off season's going. Obviously, this past year you had basically no fans in the stands. Looking forward to this year where you've got fans in the stands. I know y'all went through your spring practices. I'm assuming you're on a little break before you go back for summer camp. Is that right?
Yeah, we get the month of May off, and then we report back on June 4th. But I'm still on campus right now because of graduation.
Yeah, I figured with finals and stuff going on right now, or just wrapping up, I should say, it might be the case there.
Yeah.
But obviously, how'd you feel about your spring camp? How do you feel like how'd you do? I guess
I felt really confident, but I'm just trying to build stepping stones for us to kind of build on, become myself. I'm trying to become more of a leader for this cornerback unit. So I guess it was a good personal spring, but there's room to grow for this group. We're very young, and a lot of people are gonna have to play this year. But excuse me, I'm very excited about the framework that we laid, and it can only go up from here. So I'm looking forward to everything that we have planned.
Yep. Well, I'm glad to hear that, man. I know I'm looking forward to, just basically having a normal football season, being in the stands. I can't wait for it, man. I know you're excited. Last year going into it. Before you go though, before I cut you off, man, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on all my social medias are different, so you guys are gonna have to listen up. My Instagram is longliveag, which if you need me to spell it, I can. LONGLIVEAG. It's literally on my arm, right here. If you need any visual, you can just read that. But my Twitter is A11ANG, and then you could also follow me on Twitch if you want to come over there and just come chat, or if you want to play some video games with me at all, that'd be twitch.tv/A, like the letter A, YYGEE, and then 2 underscores. But other than that, I'm also open all the time, literally on social media. If you ever just want to talk to me at all, or anybody just want to talk to me at all, I'm like an open book. So don't feel nervous or anything like that to reach out.
All right, there you have it. So, with that being said, if you didn't listen to it or you're confused, check out damngooddoggast.com after the show. I'm gonna put up a in the gallery for special guests. That way, I'll let him decide where he wants to send you, in case you want to reach out. Again, man, I just want to say thanks for your time coming on here and giving us some insight from the perspective of a college athlete.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for having me on. This was really fun. I enjoyed this.
Hey, likewise, man. If you ever want to be on, just let me know, okay?
Sounds good.
I mean, have a good one.
I'll see you.
All right, guys. Just want to, before we wrap it up, just want to let you know, sponsors over here at Buzzsprout. If you ever want to start a podcast, use this referral code down below. It is buzzsprout.com. The refer ID is 1659103. Get yourself an Amazon gift card, $20, if you sign up and use the pay, or set up a paid plan there. And before that, right there, guys, hope everybody has a good day. Want to say thanks for tuning in. Make sure you check out damngooddoggcast.com. Follow us on social medias. And on that note, though, guys, go Dogs. I'll catch you on the other side.